If you're an attorney in the pursuit of a successful law practice, fulfilling career, and the life of your dreams, this podcast has it all. Behind the Bench gives you great tools to overcome the unique challenges you face every day as a law firm owner. Welcome to Behind the Bench podcast with your host, Josh Konigsberg, author, partner, and co-founder of Law Firm Marketing Pros and lifelong entrepreneur.
Welcome to another captivating episode of Behind the Bench podcast. This is your host, Josh Konigsberg, and as many of you know, I'm a digital marketing expert specializing in helping lawyers generate more qualified leads online and thus enhance their law firm revenues. Join us as we explore the fascinating realm of law, featuring insightful discussions, seasoned lawyers, legal experts, and industry leaders. Special thank you to our sponsor, Law Firm Marketing Pros. They get you more leads, more clients, and more profits. Super excited about our guest today, Armando Leduc. Armando is the president and CEO of Leduc Entertainment. He helps businesses generate leads, add clients, and increase revenue with his content-to-clients marketing approach. With over 20 years in the entertainment industry, including major motion pictures and series with leading actors such as Nicolas Cage, Will Smith, Ryan Reynolds, and Blake Lively, he has mastered his craft and creates content that sets you apart, positioning you as an expert in your field. Armando, welcome to the podcast. That's quite an intro we have there for you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. It's kind of crazy when you think about how fast life goes, and you're like, "Damn, that was like 20 plus years ago."
Yeah. So did we know Ryan Reynolds was going to be Ryan Reynolds when you worked with him?
It was the Green Lantern, so yeah, he was pretty popular at the time.
Yeah.
It would be Tank, but it was still good. Still was fun.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Hey, it's on your resume, right? So, yeah, good stuff. So, can you share a little bit more about your background in the entertainment industry and how it led to you to create Leduc Entertainment?
So, when I moved to New Orleans, I moved here to be an actor because there was tax credits. And so there was a lot of Hollywood movies being shot here. So I was like, all right, this is going to be a stepping stone to LA. And I was always, I wouldn't say bored on set. I just, there was just so much more I wanted to like learn about. And I'm just paying attention to the director and the producers and the lighting guys. And I'm like, all right, I really enjoy everything that goes into making a movie and making a story come alive. And so I started doing more of my own projects, did some fun sketches and comedies and things like that. And I was like, man, I want to do more story-based content, but for businesses. And so I rebranded to Leduc Entertainment in 2016 and started doing like commercials and acting reels, and I was doing a bunch of stuff. And then Louis, or Luis, as everybody knows him now, I went to high school with him, so I called him Louis back in the day. So it's hard to now call him Louis.
That's Louis Scott for everyone who does not know who we're talking about. Come on.
So Louis Scott, we went to school together, saw that he was like just killing it. I actually had him on my podcast during COVID, and he was telling me about, how he grew his law firm and how he was starting this new company called 8-Figure Firm. And he said, I would love if you came and shot some content for me. And that's really how I got into sort of the personal branding game, and what it means to like do personal branding and the celebrity code of how to create celebrity and how that can affect your business. And so so we started really just going all in on personal branding, and it's just been an amazing trip. We have seen exponential growth with a lot of the people that we've seen and we've worked with, not just in terms of revenue, which that's been amazing. They've been able to grow their businesses revenue wise, but I think they've been able to grow as speakers, as professionals, the authority in their field, as thought leaders. And when you creating content on the regular basis, it helps reinforce who you say you are, right? So if you're saying you're an amazing personal injury attorney and you're doing that on a monthly basis every, and you're putting content out on the daily that says, hey, I know what I'm talking about. Hey, I'm the authority. Hey, I'm the thought leader in this field. Then it's a constant reminder. And it's also a thing that helps us keep us in check. Right. So, oh, wow. All right. I better be who I say I am.
Right. Like, sure. It holds you accountable. Right.
Yeah.
So perfect. Okay. So how do you help businesses and specifically law firms develop their brand and identify their target market so they can scale?
So when you're looking at, there's a really good book. It's called How to Write Copy That Sells. I recommend any business owner read it. But he talks about pastor being the thing that you need to answer in terms of whether you're putting an ad out, whether you're putting videos out, copy, whatever. Pastor is the person that you help, right? Your client avatar, the problem that they have, the pain, right? A is for amplification of that pain. So if if you're a personal injury attorney and you help people that got into car accidents, right? Or they've been personally injured. What happens if they hire the wrong attorney? May not get the compensation they deserve. What happens if they accept money from an insurance company without talking to an attorney? They're screwed, right? Right. What is the amplification of the pain that your customer avatar has? Right. Then talk to me about stories of people that you've helped. What was, how much money did you get them? What was their experience like working with you? What was the transformation that they had, right? Were they happy? How many reviews do you have? Do you have case studies? Are there testimonials? Are there video testimonials, right? So those stories help to add the validity to your validity and your authority, your credibility, your trust, right? And then what is your offer? What is your flagship offers, or what are the other things that your firm specializes in, right? You can be a personal injury attorney, but do you have a when it comes to personal injury, catastrophic cases, brain injury or whatever, like those, when you start getting into those specialties, that's when you start exponentially growing. Right? It's the niching down effect. And then what's the call to action? How do people reach you? Do they call you? What's the sales intake like? And so that's the framework that we start from, right? What's your unique selling proposition? How do you want to position yourself? And then when we're talking about like a personal brand, I think it's funny when people are like, I don't know what my personal brand is. Be like, you already have a personal brand. What do people say when you're not in the room? That's your personal brand. What's your reputation, right? That is your personal brand. And so what you should be doing is being a little bit more intentional about how you are perceived and what you want people to say and what are the talk triggers and how do you want to position yourself in the market as a thought leader? What do you want to be known for? And when you can start to create those things, your personal brand is going to stand out from everybody else. You're looking at, with attorneys these days, right? It's a red ocean out there, right? It's dog eat dog. There's a lot of competition, and you got to do a lot of things, right? You guys obviously help with what you guys do in terms of scaling law firms and helping them with their digital marketing, right? And so you love working with companies like you that have everything dialed in on that level. Then we just come in and create the personal brand part of it. So we're helping with their customer journey videos. We're helping with their podcasting. We're helping with SEO, strategic video content, and then we're helping with them with their organic social media content, right? Video in video form. And when all of that stuff is working together in tandem, I mean, you own it.
That's right. That was so well said. So well said, Armando. So, what are some of the key benefits that a law firm can expect when they incorporate good storytelling in their marketing efforts? And how does that ultimately set them apart from their competitors who may not be using storytelling effectively?
Without a story, it just feels like you're being talked at. And then it feels like it could be just smoke and mirrors. People love to talk. And people have a good game, right? Some people are amazing at speaking. But when you infuse story into the messaging and there's actual data or there's like experience, you're talking from experience, then that's when that credibility comes in, because it's all like, oh, okay, not only did I help this person, but I helped this person. And let me tell you how I helped that person. And that is the story. And so that's how we infuse story and how it's super beneficial. If I'm trying to sell an attorney on why they need to use my services, I never tell them the what, right? And I don't even really tell them the how. I tell them the why. I tell them the stories of all of the people that I've helped in the past. And I'm like, and here's the thing, you don't even have to hear from me. Here's the phone numbers. Call them. I'm not going to sell you. You talk to them. They will tell you, right? And so that's how amazing is that when you have when you're not having to do the sales on that end.
So can you share a specific story about using that?
Yeah, I mean, Lewis Scott, was our first client that we helped really just massively be found online. And like the amount, I mean, we've created over 600 to 700 videos for him now within the last 4 years, if not more, and a lot of these, like one of the videos that we shot for him was of a nonprofit attorney that he helped go from $700,000 a year to $2.4 million in 6 months. And that was Audrey Chisholm, a nonprofit attorney. And I recorded her saying that. And that video, I'm sure, brought him easy seven figures. That one video.
That's great. She's a tremendous story. I know, Audrey. That's a tremendous story. So, yeah, you man. So, you're known for living unapologetically, which I love. Can you explain what this means and how has it influenced your approach both to your personal life and your professional career?
I will tell you that I wanted to be an actor so that I didn't have to be myself. And it was a way for me to escape, just things that the trauma of my youth, right? And I think that a lot of times we're all living with this mask because of the trauma, whatever that was, the judgment, the abuse, all of the things that we go through as kids that make us, scared to be ourselves. Mm-hmm. And the beautiful thing about having gone and created content the way that I have and at the scale that I have, where I'm posting a video every day, you learn to be comfortable with who you are. I could show you interviews of me on red carpets from movies I did, and I'm just like terrified to talk. You put a microphone in front of me, and I'm like, I'll sing, and because I'm a different person, right? I'm that persona. Right. But when it came to just being me, it was hard. And so over the last 4 years of me just doubling down, and I'm a customer of Leduc Entertainment, right? Like I use my own services. I do podcasts, I do organic social, the whole nine. And so as a result of doing that on a regular basis, I have learned to be okay with who I am. And I've got haters and people hate on me and they don't like me. But you know what? I don't really care. I'm at that point where the information and my goal of how I'm trying to help is more important than how I think people perceive me and whatever. And so I think it's a beautiful side effect of creating content. And it's easy as just getting on your phone and just answering questions. And if you do that long enough, you'll get to that point of irreverence. There's a book called Irreverent Acting by Eric Morris. And the philosophy behind this book is basically once you become irreverent, then you can play and you can be creative and you're past yourself.
Right.
So when you become irreverent in who you are and living authentically and unapologetically, that's when you're really going to start to find the nuggets. And that's when you're really going to get past yourself and really create impact and really do good in this world because you're helping and you're not worried about what other people are thinking.
So well said. Amazing. So as we know, many professionals struggle with imposter syndrome. And so, especially when they're facing new challenges, can you tell the audience what imposter syndrome is and what strategies you have found to be the quickest way to overcome it?
I think, and it's back to the first question that you asked me about living authentically. I believe it is the mask that we put on ourselves to protect us and put our guards up so that we don't have to feel the pain of judgment and defeat. That's what imposter syndrome is. And so when you get into the mindset that failure is not the end and that you're going to fail, and you should fail. You should fail in your 40s. You should fail in your 50s. You should continue to fail in your 60s and keep learning, right? And especially in the lawyer field, like there's a lot of ego. There's a lot of pride. There's a lot of this I've got to be the best. I got to be the best and I can't make any mistakes. And because you're in that mindset, you stop yourself from trying new things and you stop yourself from being authentic and knowing that you're a human. And I talk to my clients all the time. I'm like, why aren't you just being you? Just be you. Like, you're not perfect and nobody's perfect. As a matter of fact, the less perfect you are, the more people are going to resonate with you. If you're there and you're just super polished all the time, nobody resonates with that. Nobody. But the thing is, like, professionals, doctors and attorneys who I work with a lot, they all have that feeling. They have imposter syndrome about who they are, right? Because they think that they have to be this perfect human being and they're not. And that's okay. You don't have to be.
Mm-hmm. So I see it as the judgment aspect of what you said. And I come from a very judgmental part of the world, and that's Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you know any people from Philly, there's a lot of that going on there. My family, very judgmental. It's their issue, not yours. So if you keep that in mind, someone judging you, it's their issue. That really was what helped me get over it, right? So if that's helpful to any of our listeners out there. So let's move on a little bit and talk about law firm marketing specifically. So from your extensive experience, why has video become such a crucial element in law firm marketing today?
Because I think it's accessible. You know, I know a lot of attorneys and firms are still posting like graphics and everybody's like, oh, I got to post to stay relevant. But they post nonsense. They post an infographic that nobody cares. Like, it's a stock footage of people that they don't know. It's once again polished, but it's not resonating with anybody. Not engaging. The law firm owner is not even part of it. Like, does he even care? Does she even care? Like, there's no. So when people can see you and they can hear you talk and they can hear the intonation, they can see your body language and they can see how you dress and they can see how you put your makeup on or how you shave or how you do your hair. Like, all of these things help us connect with you or disconnect with you. And here's the deal. You can't capture 100% of the market. Well, I was talking to Lewis about that at the Mastermind where he was talking about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift hasn't even been able to capture 100% of the market. I don't listen to Taylor Swift. I know who she is. You know what I mean? But like, she hasn't been able to. So if we can all get out of the mindset of we have to capture 100% of the market and we can go, who am I trying to talk to? Let me just talk to those people. That's right. And you can make 8-9 figures just talking to those people.
Right. Focus on the avatar. Right.
So stop trying to be everything to everybody and just start being yourself. And people, if you love dogs, you're going to have clients out there that connect with you because you post about your dog. You know, if you're a family man and you post about your kids, you're going to find people that connect because, you know, or if you're a boating guy or if you're a fishing guy or if you're a golfing guy or whatever, like, post about who you are. You know what I mean? Not just about how you know either, right? Like, don't just make videos about law. Like, who are you as a human being, right? How am I going to connect with you?
So we're basically humanizing it.
Yes.
Right. So you've got some skills in building customer journey maps. So how can law firms use customer journey maps to identify critical touch points in their client interactions? And really, we were just talking about this, right? In their client interactions, and what strategies can they employ to smooth out the issues and amplify positive experience? I know it's a long question.
I love it. I love that question. I was just having a meeting with my Go high level like technician guy, because he's like the techie and I'm like the content guy. So He just implements everything. And then there's a group called Hona out of Utah that will take the videos and they'll implement them in text messages. So there's different ways to implement the strategies, but I love video touch points because when somebody's hiring an attorney, it's not the best day. You know what I mean? They're getting divorced. They've been in an accident. You know, some stuff is going down. They've never been there before, right? And you're a busy law firm owner, or your attorneys. You know, your attorneys are going 240 miles an hour every day, right? And they forget. It's not that they don't care. It's just that they forget. And so if you're not intentional about how you're connecting with your clients, you're going to piss them off, right? Because they don't care that you have other clients. They don't. They care that you're their attorney. And so if you don't have an intentional touch point on like, okay, they're probably, and you got to get into their heads. Where are they when they first call you? They're panicked. They're hurt. Maybe it's a family member that's calling you. Like, where are they mentally? Great. How are we bringing them into our environment from that touch point? Right. And go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and depending on the type of law, so it's not just PI.
Yeah.
If it's a family matter or if it's criminal defense, right? Or immigration, someone might be concerned about deportation, or I want a fiance visa. I need my fiance here. So estate planning, it could be a probate issue where someone's died.
Yeah.
And as I constantly remind my clients, is in some cases, this is the first time anyone has ever spoken to an attorney and they're scared. They don't, can I trust this person? Are they going to take money from me? Right. So they don't know. So that's, so well said. Can you give an example for the audience of I know what touch points are. I know you know it, but they might not understand what we mean by that.
Yeah. And real quick to your point on like, am I going to trust this attorney? Attorneys already have a stigma, right? That's why branding is so important for firms. If you're not branding yourself and you're just, stock images on your website, stock images on your social media, stock images, like there's no connection. So when you come down to like whether or not this person is going to hire you, they don't know you. That's why branding is important. So, but touch points, I'm always like, okay, how am I treating the person like they're a human being? There's a really good book. It's called Leadership and Self-Deception. Amazing book. But the Cliff's Notes of the book is you're either inside the box or outside the box. When you're inside the box, you're treating the person like they're an object. When you're outside the box, you're treating the person like they're a person with needs, with fears, with wants, with desires. But when you're in the box, you're just like, you're going and going and going. You don't care, so you're going to create the story in your head as to, oh, it's their problem. Oh, they're the ones, right? And it's just a finger pointing situation. So what the book says is like, step outside the box and start looking at people like they're human beings. So if you start creating the content from that perspective, then when you're putting those touch points together, it's a lot more thoughtful. Okay, hey, I know that this is probably one of the worst days of your life, right? And this is a video that you can send out. We really appreciate you guys reaching out to us. I know you have a lot of decisions and opportunities or selections of attorneys that you can hire, but we appreciate you guys calling us. Here's some things that if you haven't made a decision on using us yet, here's some 5 questions that I feel like you should ask your attorney before hiring them. right? A, B, C, D, E, right? And so, and I'm not selling you. I'm just telling you, hey, if you want to use us, we'd love to have you as a client. But here's some information that you probably should ask so that you have some guidance, right? So that could be one video that you send out right after you get off a sales intake and maybe they didn't sign, right? And then another touch point could be, depending on what the injury is, hey, you got a sequence for car accidents. You have a sequence for dog bites. You have a sequence for this. You have a sequence for that. And then that way you can just,
And it could be, that also could apply for family law. It also
family law too, right?
Like criminal defense, et cetera.
Sure.
So absolutely. So as I see it is that is showing more empathy towards the potential client to get them to engage and become the client.
Sure. Yeah. Like, what is a deposition? And break it down to them like they're 5. Don't give them like all legalese talk. Well, the deposition is going to be like, just, hey guys, this is a deposition. This is what's going to happen in here. This is where, this is what we're doing here. And there's that time, and I know I work with a lot of personal injury attorneys, but there's that time period when they're going to the doctor and they're getting updates, right? But there's nothing really happening on the lawyer end. They're just kind of waiting to build a case. So why are we not reaching out to the client in that time? If supportive videos about, hey, we know you're having a bad time. Here's a quick video on mental health, or here's a quick video on how to put your life back together, or here's a video on anxiety and depression and what you should be eating. And you know what I mean? Like, dude.
That resonates with family law. That resonates with criminal defense. That resonates with immigration. That resonates with estate planning, right? So good stuff. Good stuff. So you're the king of social media marketing.
Yeah.
How can law firms use social media to build trust and credibility with their audience? Specific to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
I think it's a volume game. Don't overthink the content. Don't overthink the content, especially when it comes to social media. You just want people to see your face. When they're scrolling, you're on a podcast. When they're scrolling, you're answering a question. When they're scrolling, you have a picture of your dog. When they're scrolling, this is you at a nonprofit that you celebrate. When they're
Repetition.
scrolling, it's just they just have to see your face. It's a digital billboard, really.
Mm-hmm. That's how I describe it. Yep, exactly right.
Yeah.
So what are some of the latest trends in social media and content marketing that law firms should be aware of?
Podcasting. I think every law firm needs a podcast, and not because I believe people are going to listen to the podcast, but it is a way to show that you are a member of the community. So the people that you bring on in your podcast, if you're a family law attorney in New York, right? We're at New York. Bring restaurant owners to your podcast. Bring some musicians that are like local celebrities to your podcast. I'll tell you what, NIL is a thing now. You can pay these college athletes that are like superstars $200-$300 to come on your podcast to just add some social currency to you, right? Because it's your alma mater and you love that school. Get some people on your podcast, get the coach, and then you'll start building your podcast, and then you can get higher and higher level people. But it is such an easy way to network, such an easy way to show people that you're part of that community specifically, such an easy way to create content, such an easy way to create the authority, social currency, like the whole nine, like podcast.
And if you think about it strategically, and I'll just jump into family law, for example. So when a man and a woman are going through a divorce, they don't all, but women usually hit a plastic surgeon, right? Men hit the gym. Both of them might hit the gym, right? You also could have some gym owners, maybe some personal trainers, maybe some health and nutrition people, definitely mental health professionals. I mean, you could come up with dozens and dozens of people within the community. And what most people don't realize is that I have a sphere of influence that will now meet you, Armando, from my broadcast. And the converse is true so people don't really think that. Well, who's going to watch my broadcast? Armando, you might have 10,000 people that don't know who Josh Konigsberg is, right? But now they're going to know. And even if only 10% of those people find out, that is what it's about. It's about creating exposure and branding. So
yeah. I mean, you nailed it. Hallelujah. Here's something that people are not really thinking about. And that is the joint venture and referral partnerships that come from podcasting. I'm always looking for people that we can do business together in some capacity, right? Referral partnerships, joint ventures. I've made 7 figures off of my podcast just by having the right people on.
Amazing. Congratulations on that, by the way. So any additional nuggets of wisdom or insight that you'd like to share with the attorneys looking for rapid growth in their law firms and to establish a powerful brand?
I think it's a volume of content game these days, right? Like the more content you can push out, the better. There was a guy, I'm a member of this marketing mastermind in Vegas called Flight Club. And this kid did 800 podcasts in a year and a half. He puts out 2 podcasts a day. 2 podcasts a day. And he's one of the number 1 Apple podcasts right now in a year and a half, right? He went all in. And like, he's got like guys from Shark Tank on his podcast. He's making over 6 figures on his podcast just on the monetization of it. So
amazing.
Yeah. So all that to say is you guys have to be just a content creating machine, and if you do it now, you'll be ahead of everybody else that's finally going to be comfortable, in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But at that point, you'll have 1,000 videos and they will only have 30.
And here's the other thing that most business owners, and I'll say attorneys because that's what we're focused on today, don't realize. So this podcast, between you and I will be able to break this up into a dozen different highlights that I can repurpose over and over again through different channels or silos. So that really amplifies the exposure for both of us. So just keep that around. So let's move on to what I call, this is my favorite part, by the way. This is the lightning round. This is where people get to know you, like you, and trust you. As we all know, we like to do business with people we know, like, and trust. So I just have 10 quick questions. I'm going to fire them off at you and you just answer them. Okay?
Sure.
So first question is, what never fails to make you laugh?
People getting hit in the nuts.
That made me laugh. So there you go.
Nut shots, man. I don't know. It just always makes me laugh.
That's funny. What's the best compliment you ever got?
I had a standing ovation during I did the producers here in New Orleans, and I played Franz Liebkind, the German guy, and people just like after my song, gave me a standing ovation, which was really, really cool.
That's great. Love it. So, person who you trade places with for a day?
Man, that's such a hard question. Alive?
Doesn't matter. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Who would you change?
I think it would be tremendous to be Elon Musk, just because his brain is just amazing to me.
Oh, do I want to see inside somebody's brain, or do I want to?
Oh, so the person I'd trade places with, I'd be inside his brain, right?
Yeah. Stephen Colbert.
Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. Yeah. He's a really, really bright guy. So what is your guilty pleasure?
I love yacht rock.
You love what?
Yacht rock. Oh, Christopher Cross. Phil Collins.
Okay. Love it. All right. Okay. Yacht rock. Okay. Biggest risk you ever took?
Moving to New Orleans, not knowing anybody.
The big one. Worst piece of advice you ever got?
Oh, man, these are good questions. Advice I ever got that I needed to go to college.
So true today. Let me tell you. What do you wish you were better at dealing with?
My wife.
Okay. What is the one thing that you would change about? Okay. All right. Good. That's good. What is the one thing that you would change about yourself?
My eating habits. I just got a sweet tooth, man. I just got to eat it.
Mm-hmm. What are you most passionate about?
I just love to help broken people.
Love that. So tell us something that most people don't know about you.
I mean, some people know this. I used to own a swing Latin and ballroom studio in Augusta, Georgia, when I was in my 20s. That was my first business that I ever owned.
So you can dance?
Yeah, I used to travel and compete. Wait, yeah.
So you'll have to show me some salsa moves next time I see you.
Yeah, man.
Armando, tell our audience, what is the best way for them to reach you?
I would say the best way to reach us is on our social media. I mean, you can always go to LeducEntertainment.com too and reach out to us that way. But like, we're super responsive on all of our social media channels, and we're on all of them: YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook. If you reach out to us, we will get it, and we will reach out to you very quickly.
Great, good stuff. So thanks so much for being a guest today on Behind the Bench podcast.
Thank you.
This is Josh Konigsberg, and a big shout out to our sponsor, Law Firm Marketing Pros, where they get you more leads, more clients, and more profits. That's a wrap for today.
Thanks for listening to another fabulous episode of Behind the Bench. I hope you take action on some insight and tips you learned today. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share.